Who's next? Just tell me who's next.
Any motherfucker born from his mother!
Who's next? Just tell me who's next.
Any motherfucker born from his mother!
Who's next? Just tell me who's next.
Any motherfucker born from his mother!
What's good, family? So mash the like button, subscribe and lick off the bell. So we just heard there from Tyson. Oh, Fury. No, he said, obviously he didn't say too much, but still, let's check this. He said, quick time. Whoever wants it can get it. I'm rock hard for all demands in the division right now. And I have to say that, based on that performance, yes, Deontay Wilder is extremely limited. He's even more limited than I thought he was, to be fair. Apart from that first round, where he actually showed some skills. After the first round, he had no skills left. After the first shot was... after the first time Fury popped him in the mouth, he forgot about all the skills. And in a way, I have to give AJ credit. At least when he gets popped in the mouth, he can have a little piece of skills. Although, actually, when Ruiz clocked him, he had no skills either. So anyway, moving on. Yep, Wilder was useless in terms of the skills, but he was giving it some. But then again, can we really rate someone giving it some but having absolutely no skills? I don't know. That's a question that is yet to be answered. Why is it a question that is yet to be answered by Fury? Well, potentially, Fury says he wants whoever's out there. Listen, Dillian Whyte is out there and he wants it. And this could end up tying in quite nicely. Why? Dillian Whyte allegedly has a similar level of heart to Fury and Wilder. No, it's not even alleged. I guess you could argue he does because we saw him in there with Joseph Parker, but that's Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker's no good, in my opinion. Joseph Parker's got no heart as such. We've seen him in there with AJ freezing. So if Dillian Whyte was going 50-50 with no heart looking ass Joseph Parker, what's going to happen when he's in front of Fury? And that's what I'm saying. Dillian Whyte has heart, allegedly. We haven't really seen him going in there with a top dude. And I guess we have. We saw him in there with AJ, but again, he got smoked. We haven't really seen Dillian Whyte in there with a top dude, yeah, who is putting it on him and he finds a way to get through. AJ, he lost. Who else is there? Trying to think. What top level dudes has he been in there with? Chisora, not top level, is he? To be fair. And that's my point here. We are going to find out, number one, how good Dillian is in terms of skills, and number two, how much he wants it. He's done the talking. Yeah? Because what's Dillian Whyte's last fight? Povetkin. And to be fair to Dillian, he did come out and got on it. But again, Povetkin is small, old, and useless. That's bottom line. That's a fact. Old, small, useless. Fury, big, not useless, and wants it. So that's why, and it's not Dillian's fault as such, it's really an indictment on the sport of heavyweight boxing. Because heavyweight boxing has been in a bad place for 20 years. And more recently, it's kind of heating up. It's not as bad as the Klitschko's era. The Klitschko's era was bad. That was the worst era in history, because all it had was the Klitschko's, who we now know got beat by a whole bag of man in this era. Maybe not so much Vitali, but who you know what I mean? One of them ones. Either way, yes, it's slightly upticked. It's ticked up the quality of opponents, but it's not much better. I mean, Dillian Whyte at one time was perceived to be the number 2 guy, certainly top 5. Sorry, number 3 guy, certainly top 5. And he got smoked by Povetkin, who wasn't even all that in his heyday. So, I mean, I can't lie to you. We spend a lot of time at the moment, Eddie Hearn, and quite a lot of people are saying, yeah, Dillian versus Fury, but I can't lie to you, man. I'm not even sure Dillian going to get past Otto Wallin. I've got a bad feeling about that fight. But then again, I had a bad feeling about Fury and Wilder. I had a feeling Wilder was going to do something, and he didn't do much, really, did he? Because I'm not being funny, if you take away the knockdown, all he has, or if you take away round 4, all he had was round 1. Round 1 and round 4. That was really it. And I think maybe, was it round 5 or 6, he had a bit of a flurry, where he went all in. It almost looked like it was, in fact it was. I think in round 6 he put in this big flurry. And I think that was his last stand. And it's funny, at the time I said to myself, that looks like Wilder's last stand. Obviously not knowing that it would end up being his last stand. Wilder knocked down Fury in the 4th, yeah, and then I think it was the 5th or the 6th. He ended up going mad because Fury looked a bit wobbly. And he put it all in, and that was it. He was done. Yeah? Deontay Wilder went Tunde Ajayi and Anthony Yard style. Yeah? Leave it all in there. Leave it all out there. One of them ones. One of them all out there ones. But then again, listen. What we do know is, it's better to be an all out there Donny than it is to be a AJ, stay behind the jab. Let's not get touched. Let's finish on our feet looking at us. It's much better. Whilst self-preservation, whilst AJ and his team may pat themselves on the back, oh look, at least we stayed on our feet. Listen, at least you went out. At least all your fans know you've got no balls. Oops. Yeah? McCrappen was saying, AJ, stay behind the jab. AJ, lie on the feet. What he meant to say was, AJ, get your elbows in, get your chin down, put your guard nice and tight, and march forward. Not even once did anything like that come out of Rob McCrappen's mouth, and it never has, because he's crap. That's why his name's Rob McCrappen. Rob might as well be a crackhead. That's how he might as well be. I reckon, no word of a lie, I reckon you get crackheads do a better job than Rob. Well, one thing we do know, at least their man would have passion and some energy, wouldn't they? Buzzing, yeah, off the White. Yeah, honestly, all you got to do is give some of them man a few licks, yeah? Give them a few licks of the White, and they'll be bang on it. AJ will be full of energy, no doubt. So, where was I anyway? Oh yeah, I was talking about this business in the heavyweight division at the moment. Fury, he wants someone. I'm just hoping Fury doesn't take time off. You man who follow my channel, people say, YB, you're a Fury hater. I've never been a hater of no one. I hate actions. I've always said that. I've always said I judge people by individual actions. If you pull out of a fight, if you stay inactive, if you don't have fights because there's no fans. Don't forget, people, the reason Fury's been inactive for 18 months, nearly 2 years, was because of pullouts and not wanting to fight because there's no fans. That's not good enough, in my opinion. And that's why I've been riding Fury. Yeah, he pulled out of the Fury Wilder fight. He had to go to court for it. Why go now, knowing what we know? Why did you go to court for that? Why not just fight the guy? You could have fought the guy in June last year. And God knows where we could be now. Well, you'd have whooped Fury. Listen, Fury would have whooped AJ by now. 100%. Maybe even twice, because you could have fought Wilder in... Don't forget, people, the Wilder and Fury free fight was supposed to happen in July 2020. That means AJ would have fought Pulev in December maybe, but who knows? Because unifications supersede mandatories. So the Pulev mandatory in December, it could have been AJ and Fury in June. Sorry, in January 2021. We could have easily had the rematch by now. And we could have a unified undisputed champion. Instead, Fury and... we haven't got no fans, so we can't put the fight on. Then, you had to go to court for it. All that kind of stuff. I'm sorry, people. Yes, I can appreciate it. And you might have heard me. I've given Fury loads of credit in the last few days. But what do? Do we just... I'm not a fangirl. I can't support things that don't make no sense. And making Wilder take you to court made no sense. Yeah? Why do that? Just act normal. Fill Wilder in last year. Give him what he wants. Quick. And move on. That's what Fury needs to concentrate on now. Clearly, he's got the fighting element down pat. But it's the other stuff that it's hard to support. Or impossible to support. I won't support the other stuff. In my opinion, it'll ruin his legacy. For example, if he takes another 18 months off now, because I've already heard some things. I've got videos coming soon, but for example, his dad's saying, we don't want to fight Dillian Whyte. We don't need to fight him. He's no good, and Fury won't be able to get up for him. He's no good, and it's got to be Usyk or no one. Well, John, that's all well and good, but number one, that's not what greatness is about. You can't have no title defensive, essentially, because even though you've had one title defense now, it's against Wilder. Don't even really count, in my opinion. Fury's got to start getting some names on the board. It doesn't matter if they're no good. If they're no good, knock them out. And Fury's proven he can go into the ring with something very rare. I've already given Fury the ratings above people like Lennox Lewis and Floyd Mayweather, in as much as Fury went in there and was hunting the KO. Often Lennox would go in there and he ain't really fussed about the KO. So I'm already giving him that. And on that basis, Fury can run with this now. Okay, if you say Dillian's a bum, make it your target to make that obvious to the fans. Say, you know what, this guy's a bum. And whilst it may not excite you, to fight Dillian on the whole, make a target out of him. In as much as, listen, he's a bum, and I'm going to get him out there in 3 rounds. That's what you do to bums, don't you? You don't not fight them, you make a real bum out of them. This guy's such a bum, I'm going to show you he's a bum. 3 rounds for him. You don't say, oh, he's a bum, I ain't going to fight him. I'm sorry, that's just not a Hall of Fame attitude, bottom line. And that's a standard I hold these boys to. I hold AJ to that standard, I hold Alderman to that standard. If you don't like it, then you're a fangirl, bottom line. Because there's no reason Fury... Number one, Eddie Hearn's already made it clear. And we all know, it's a massive fight as well. You're going to get paid not far off what you got paid against Deontay Wilder, probably. And for what you say is an easier fight. And I'm not being... Fury himself has already admitted that he's training every day, so why not? If you're training every day and love to fight, just treat it like a training session. But don't, obviously, don't pull an AJ special and go in there and literally fight like you're training. And then after the fight say, oh, yeah, it was great to get 12 rounds under my belt and it's going to be great for my training. Goofy. Don't be doing that rubbish, but go in there and school him like a training session. Simple as that. Don't do this whole thing of, oh, we don't want to fight him, and if it's not Usyk, we're going to sit down for 18 months. Because that's what's ruining your career at the moment. This big spans of inactivity. When you're not getting no names on the board. And not only that, I think half the reason Fury wasn't as refined is because you have to have... There's one thing being gym fit. Fury is clearly gym fit, but it's another thing being competition fit. I think this doesn't help for all fighters these days. Back in the day, fighters were fighting once every other month. When you're in and out of the ring, when you're in and out under the lights every other weekend, you find an extra level of calm in that environment. Obviously, when you're fighting once every blue moon, it's a lot more nerving, or a lot more unnerving. So go in there with Dillian, and don't forget, people. Fury said before this fight, I'm going to go on a big run. I'm going to do Dillian in December. I'm going to do AJ in January. All this kind of stuff. Now, that's obviously not likely, but at least aim to fight twice a year. That should be, for every top fighter, that should be the bare bones minimum. Really, 3 times a year should be the goal. Once every 4 months. Because you can have a month off every time, and then a 12-week camp. Month off, 12-week camp. Month off, 12-week camp. Month off, that's how it works. That's how everyone should be doing that. 4 months. Every 4 months, have a fight. It doesn't have to be a blockbuster every time. We haven't got a problem with watching 1 or 2 blockbusters a year and the other one be a throwaway. But that's what needs to happen right now. 2 a year. Dillian, and then, I'm not being funny, John and Tyson said they want Usyk. Well, you're only 1 fight away from that anyway. Yeah? Whilst Usyk and AJ are sorting their crap out, fight Dillian. And then you're going to get that one. It's only 6 months away. 6 months from now, we'll be talking about AJ and Usyk. I mean, it'll be Fury versus the winner of that fight. So it's not miles away. What I'm hoping doesn't happen is that Fury does what he normally does and does what John Fury is now talking about. And that's, okay, well, AJ and Usyk are going to be opened up in 6 months. Because Eddie Hearn's already talking about a February or March date. So it's less than that, really. If it's February, for example, we've only got, 5 months? 4 or 5 months. Let's call it 6 months. I'm hoping Team Fury don't think, well, it's 6 months and we're going to be on the tip of this AJ or Usyk fight. So we'll just sit around for 6 months. Don't be that guy. And to be honest, from what I've heard from the WBC, although I won't be shocked at anything at this point, but WBC are due to mandate that. Now, there is some arguments that, Fury going to become the franchise champion. If that happens, I'm going to go mad. And I'm not being funny, but it is things like that which draw a wedge between me and Fury. It's little things like that. Oh, well, we're going to become franchise champion, and that means we cannot fight this. Don't do it. Let's go and fill Dillian in, and I believe you will fill him in. Haven't seen what I've seen. Dillian, I just don't think Dillian's going to have enough. I haven't seen enough from Dillian. He hasn't got enough chin, I don't believe. Because if Povetkin can put you out, Fury can put you out, I'd have thought. Or at least he's going to trouble you. Bear in mind as well, people, that Fury putting Wilder out, and Dillian hasn't. I haven't seen a chin where I can say, yeah, man, he got this under control. Rivas, random ass Rivas put down Dillian. Now, I'm not saying Dillian's a throwaway, but come on, let's get serious, people. If Dillian gets past Wallin, then it's going to be more encouraging, but either way. Team Fury, stay on the wagon. Take 4 weeks off. You stay ticking over, but take 4 weeks off, and then get Dillian out of the way. Get Dillian booked in for January. Stay on it. Then get the AJ fight or the Usyk fight for Q2. And then after that, people, it's almost wrapped up, innit? It's not long now. But stay on the wagon. Don't be doing this chopping in and out business. That's where you lose momentum. That's where goofiness arises. Stay on it and stay active. Once every 6 months isn't a big ask, is it really? One weekend every 6 months, you're having a laugh. Everyone else is working 5 times a week. Wait a minute, everyone else working 5 times a week, and you man can't do one fight every 6 months. Come on, get serious now. Because at the moment, literally, you're fighting once every 2 years. That's shocking. I'm sorry. It's an absolute shocker. And we can blame everything else, but the bottom line is, everyone else has been fighting. Literally. Everyone else has been fighting. AJ literally fought 10 months ago. In the Pulev fight. And AJ and Eddie Hearn were late to it. Because the UFC started 9 months before. The UFC was fought the whole way through the C19 thing. So AJ and Eddie Hearn, they was really slow to it. But your man's Fury and Wilder even slower. And that goes for Wilder as well, to be honest. Yeah, you got beat, but you need to come back and, to be honest, maybe even fight Ortiz again. I think Wilder should fight Ortiz again. Just to get some of his confidence back. Or who else is there? I don't know, maybe, I don't know. Let's wheel Ortiz out again. I know Wilder loves fighting Ortiz. Or Joe Joyce. But Wilder ain't going to fight Joe Joyce. But that would be a great fight to come back to. Wilder versus Joe Joyce. But failing that, let's wheel out Ortiz. Wilder fight Ortiz in January. Fury fight Dillian Whyte in January. AJ fight Usyk in January-ish. And then, from there, the winners, I think, if Dillian Whyte loses to Fury, then Dillian Whyte should fight Wilder. In the meantime, or better yet, wait a minute, if Wilder beats Dillian, if Wilder beats Ortiz, yeah, and Dillian Whyte loses, then Wilder should fight AJ, if he's the loser, or Dillian. What I'm saying is, from now on, yeah, next year should really be a massive round robin between Fury, AJ, Usyk, and Wilder. Everyone should be having a go on each other. One big orgy thing. That's what it should be, in my mind. Yeah, the Undisputed fight will be going on, so them two man will be busy. But the other 3 dons, so it's going to be Dillian. Well, assuming Dillian loses, but it's likely to be. It's going to be Fury and. Let's call it, for argument's sake, it's going to be Fury and Usyk in the Undisputed fight. The other 3 man, AJ, Dillian, and Wilder. You man need to just get in the mix and have a massive orgy together. And just be in there mixing it all up. You have a go on him, he has a go on him. One of them ones. A round robin thing. You should make it like a little super series with each other. And then, the winner of that super series, whoever comes out on top here of you 3 mans, then gets a crack at the Undisputed. So for example, let's say Fury beats Usyk. Then the winner of AJ, Dillian and Wilder, whoever comes out on top of that super series, boom. He gets to fight the Undisputed, which that would, in itself, whoever came out on top here between Dillian, AJ and Wilder, would certainly, people would be chewing at the bit to get that fight against Fury again. Even if it was Wilder. If Wilder beat Dillian and AJ, people, myself included, will be banging. That would certainly prove that he's obviously the number 2 heavyweight. And in fact, you could do it where them man have a round robin, and then the winner of that fights Usyk just to make sure, and then they fight the. But then again, Fury's got to be doing something, isn't he? I don't know, but either way, that's my idea. Them, how many man is there? Dillian, AJ, Wilder, Fury, and Usyk, 5 man. After the Undisputed, all their man need to get in the mix, and also throw Joe Joyce in there as well. And that's why I am in a way a bit disappointed that Usyk and Joyce should have really fought, in my opinion. Joyce should have, and that's why I blame Team AJ and his management. AJ's management team suck, like everything else in his team, because I told them what to do. Yeah, AJ should have dropped the belt, let Usyk and Joe Joyce fight for it, and then circle back. Not to duck Usyk, but you know what I mean. Fight the best people. Instead, you're fighting riffraff, and you're getting whooped by riffraff. At least you'd have lost to a champion, as such. Because Usyk, let's say Usyk beat Joyce, you'd have lost to Joyce. You'd lost to Usyk as a champion. And you'd have made a unification fight out of nothing, out of thin air. And no one would have known any different. Yeah? No one apart from hardcore fans who follow the sport would have known that AJ dropped a belt. Everyone would have just assumed that, oh, well, Usyk's a champion. That makes sense. But anyway,